Let's quickly go to our next topic for discussion, where the Federal High Court in Lagos has barred the federal government from blocking SIM cards not linked to national identity numbers next month. The Minister of Communication and Digital Economy had, through the Nigeria Communications Commission, asked operators to block all SIM cards not linked to the NIN by April 6, 2021. The deadline has caused many Nigerians to gather at offices of the National Identity Management Commission in disregard of COVID-19 protocols. However, a former second national vice president of the Nigerian Bar Association and human rights lawyers, Mr. Monday Bani, filed an originating motion and asked the courts to stop the Nigerian Communications Commission from disconnecting all SIM cards not linked to NIN. But on the flip side of it, the latest controversy is what Issa Pantami, Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, said on the NIN-SIM linkage. He said that Nigerians without the national identification numbers risk jail terms of between 7 and 14 years, in addition to being deprived of social services. And let's listen to him on this video.
National identity is a law and is mandatory. And for you to even conduct certain activities in this country without the number is an offense. For you to get voters card in Nigeria based on section 27 of NIN-SIM Act, it is an offense. For you to open a bank account without national identity number is an offense. For you to pay tax is an offense. For you to collect pension is an offense. For you to enjoy any government service without having national identity number is an offense. Section 29 says, if you do any of these in 27 without obtaining national identity, you have committed a crime that will lead to fine or imprisonment or both of them. And this is 14 years, not today. With all sense of humility, Mr. President has appointed me to ensure laws and policies of government are implemented. I'm not a kind of person that will be appointed to sit down and continue drinking tea like this. It's impossible. Any responsibility given to me, it must be obeyed. It must be.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let me start from you, because I saw you scribbling some notes.
It's laughable. I actually listened to him say that, you know, if you don't register for national identity, you risk 14 years jail term, and he cited section 29 of NIN-SIM Act, and I laughed because that is not what the law says. But beyond his threat or his statement, I want to think that the Federal High Court in Lagos on 23rd was right to have extended the period for Nigerians to enroll on this all-important national assignment. But I'm a bit worried because we have a lot of, it appears we don't have database system in this country. Almost every year they come up with one particular registration or the other. Just recently, the issue of registration of SIM card was in the offing, and everybody participated. People have registered for voters card. People have registered for national national identity management identity issue, and several. And then, most importantly, the bank verification number. These are people's details that is readily available. So why the haste to ensure that everybody complies with this national identity? Yes, of course, from their own perspective, they had stated that it is for national security, you know, in order to curb the Boko Haram and all of that. But beyond the security implication, citizens must be given some allowable time for them to enroll in this scheme. So the question is not whether or not Nigerians will do that, it's about the time frame. And the Federal High Court has rightly pointed out that from the date of judgment, which is on 23rd, 2 months have been extended. And I do not think what the minister has said is tenable any longer in view of the judgment of the Federal High Court.
Okay, let's see.
Well, when I listen to that message, I want to believe that when he said 14 years, he wasn't referring to the fact that somebody can be jailed for 14 years. I think perhaps
incidentally, that was what he said.
The way I read it, I don't know. The way I read it is that he's saying that the law that makes it mandatory, that makes it punishable if you don't do so, it has been in existence for 14 years. Because, because that's what I understand him saying. Because before he said 14 years, he had mentioned the punishment for the what you call the offense.
Yes.
Before he now said this is 14 years. When I remember, if you recall, the law was made in 2007.
Okay.
And 2007 till now is around that 14 years. I want to believe that because there's no provision in the enabling law that mentions 14 years.
Right.
Yes, it's an offense. Actually, it's mandatory for you to assess all of those things he mentioned. Pay tax, all of that. It's actually mandatory, and it's also an offense when you are eligible for registration and you don't register. But no law is going to punish you if you are available, you are ready to register, but the facilities are not there. The opportunities are going to be given to you. No court of law in this country is going to sentence anybody to jail for failure to register. Have you seen what is happening at the centers? Where
the crowd is terrible.
I have people working for me who have been out of most times almost a whole week, stay away from work because they want to go and get registered. It's affecting even my business because I'm just trying to demonstrate how difficult it is. And so, in view of this difficulty, it will be very insensitive. And I think I don't know, somebody mentioned the other time that the moment you get into government in Nigeria,
they always bring new things.
There's something that affects your brain, and you become too insensitive. Because these statements are very insensitive. Because if he is in touch with the reality of the situation, he would come to terms with the fact that Nigerians are not refusing to register. The government is not registering Nigerians. And if you say you want to punish me for that, that will be grossly insensitive. And I don't think no court of law will endorse that. So, yes, whilst it is true that there's a provision in the law that makes an offense for you to fail to register or to carry out some of those transactions you mentioned, like opening an account and all that, without having it, it will be out of place for anybody to say any Nigerian today should be punished.
Now, but even with that, I mean, we've had lots of registration over the years. I mean, the BVN you talked about, this was how it happened. You must register for BVN, and people broke their head.
You see, the
SIM card we also registered.
SIM card you still register.
Our data management system is really very, dangerous. And apart from the inconvenience of having to do this re-registration, there are also security issues. Our quote Yahoo guys out there, people who are looking to get information on how to move money from your account, are very happy with this development because what is the security of the database system that is being created for all of this NIN, what do you call it? What was the other one? All of these
SIM registration.
All of these registrations. Do you have apart from the database system, which is an issue because people can easily break in? Do we even have the security system? Is it tight enough? Is it tight enough to protect Nigerians? Because right now, the issue of stealing of documents and information is on the high right. There was a day I woke up at the middle of the night one day and I saw that monies were being moved from my account. I was lucky to have woken up at the time when it was happening because we were moving money from my account. And I immediately had to, there's a system in one of the banks that I had to quickly use to block the account. Wow. That was what stopped the movement. And then, because I was awake at that time, I had to call the bank. They had to put whatever on that payment, and then the next day I rushed to the bank to make sure I was able to block it. Now, if I had slept off like I would usually do after a serious hard job throughout the night, but by the time you wake up, they would have moved all your monies. What do we have enough, system to protect?
Because
and then there's another problem.
Okay.
Our data protection regulations and laws in this country are not even matured enough. We have a regulation that was made, by one of the agencies on data protection. And to what extent can that protect anybody? We need a proper data protection legal framework in this country so that all of these registrations they are doing, apart from the inconvenience, so that we can be sure that we are safe.
And you also have multiple data information gathering because you have your information in these banks that you operate. You have your
telecommunications.
Telecommunications. Because you can't get to see
voters card,
voters card,
national driver's license, international passport, name.
Duplication.
So duplication of identity. So this thing can easily be stolen by those who will use it to perpetrate criminalities. So that is the problem.
Well, this is where we will stop now because it's time for us to go, unfortunately. We do hope we just like you said, we have like one database where everything, because I know that like in most countries you have one identity for everything. You use that identity for a bank transaction, for your phone, for your even your voters, voting. We have that one identity. We just hope we get to that. A lot to talk about. I mean, the registration is supposed to be simple enough. You go to the internet and do your registration instead of the crowd, and at the centers. Well, as I said at the beginning of the show, it is well. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. Barrister Elvis Asia, and of course Kingsley Chime. Thank you so much for your time. Next week Sunday is another day on Galaxy Television. At the time, we'll keep a date with us again by 1 p.m. My name is Solomon Ofem. Merry Christmas.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Thank you so much.
Happy Easter. I mean, it's looking like Christmas already, but happy Easter. Thank you so much for being part of the show today. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday.